The junkyard discovery. The sun was going down, and the junkyard looked like a land of broken dreams. Rusted cars, twisted metal, and old machines lay in giant piles, like skeletons of a forgotten world. Aaron walked slowly between them, his boots crunching on glass and gravel. He was only 20, but he already knew what it meant to live hard. Life in the city was not easy. Money was short and food was never enough. The junkyard was his hunting ground. Every evening he came here searching for something, anything that he could sell. A broken radio, a piece of copper wire, sometimes even an old battery. Most of the time he found nothing but dust. But Aaron had learned patience. One man's trash was another man's meal. That day something felt different. The air was still too quiet. Even the usual dogs that barked near the fence were silent. Aaron's eyes scanned the piles of metal. He carried a small flashlight, though the sun still gave some light. The rays made the broken glass sparkle like diamonds hidden among ruins. He kicked aside a bent pipe and sighed. Nothing good, just more junk. But then, something caught his eye. At first he thought it was just a piece of polished metal, maybe part of an old motorcycle helmet. But when he brushed away the dirt, he froze. The object was smooth, shining, and untouched by rust. It looked new, as if it had been placed there just minutes ago. Aaron bent down and pulled it out from under the debris. His hands shook as he held it up. It was a helmet. Not like the helmets of bikers or construction workers. This was different. Sleek. Dark silver. Strange lines glowed faintly across its surface, like veins of blue light running under the skin. This can't be real, Aaron whispered to himself. The helmet was heavier than it looked, but it felt warm in his hands, almost alive. He turned it around, searching for a logo, a brand, anything, but there was nothing. Only smooth metal and those strange glowing lines. His heart pounded with excitement. This had to be worth something. Maybe it was military tech or some secret gadget. If he sold this, he could buy food for weeks, maybe even months. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. Aaron lifted the helmet and slowly brought it closer to his head, just to see how it fit, just to feel it. The moment it touched his hair, everything changed. With a hiss, the helmet came alive. The glowing lines brightened, spreading like fire through glass. The inside lit up with symbols he didn't understand. Aaron tried to pull it away, but the helmet locked onto his head with a sharp click. Panic hit him. He pulled harder, but it was no use. The helmet wasn't coming off. And then he heard it. A voice. Cold. Metallic. Yet clear, as if someone spoke, directly inside his mind. "Welcome, Commander," the voice said. Aaron's breath caught in his throat. He looked around, but he was alone. The junkyard was silent. The voice wasn't outside, it was inside. Inside his head. You got the wrong guy," Aaron whispered, trembling. The voice ignored him. "Commander Kale. Status: deceased. Time of death 412 years ago. Initiating recovery sequence." Aaron froze. His legs felt weak. His heart hammered so loud he thought it would break his chest. 412 years? He muttered. The helmet continued, its tone calm and certain, as if reading from a long memory. "Mission incomplete. Systems reactivated. Awaiting orders." Aaron stumbled back, tripping over a broken pipe. He fell hard on the dirt, dust flying around him. He clawed at the helmet, desperate to tear it off, but it held firm, like it was part of him now. No, this isn't real," he said, shaking his head. "This is some kind of machine trick, some prank." But deep inside, he knew it wasn't. Because as the helmet spoke, images flashed before his eyes. Bright explosions in the blackness of space. Soldiers in strange armor saluting. Alien ships burning in the void. A man, his face hidden, standing tall on the deck of a warship. The soldiers called him Commander, and for a split second Aaron felt something impossible. He felt like he was that man. He ripped the flashlight from his belt and shined it on the helmet, hoping to see a seam, a lock, something. Nothing. The smooth metal reflected the light, glowing stronger, as if mocking him. "Systems online," the voice said again. "Commander, your return was expected. The war never ended." Aaron's chest tightened. Sweat rolled down his face. He didn't understand. He didn't want to understand. But something inside him whispered that life would never be the same again. He stood up slowly, his legs shaking. The junkyard looked different now. Every shadow seemed to hide a secret. Every pile of metal looked like it could come alive. Aaron swallowed hard. His world had just changed forever, and it all started with a single voice inside a helmet. "Welcome, Commander. You died 412 years ago." The awakening of the helmet Aaron stumbled out of the junkyard that night like a man walking out of a nightmare. His heart was still thundering, and his hands wouldn't stop shaking. The helmet clung to his head like it had grown into his skin. Every time he touched it, it hummed softly, as if warning him not to try again. He reached his small shed at the edge of town. The place was barely big enough for a bed, a table, and a cracked window. He threw himself onto the bed, panting. "Okay, calm down," he muttered. It's just some high-tech VR toy. That's it." But the helmet's voice answered immediately, cold and sharp. "Commander Kyle, your denial is unnecessary. Systems confirm your presence. Mission data corrupted. Memory fragments will be restored." Aaron gasped. "I'm not Kyle. I'm not—" "You're Commander. You got the wrong guy." But the helmet ignored him again. The walls of his shed filled with light. Blue holograms flickered in the air. Maps of stars he had never seen. Strange symbols twisting into shapes of ships, planets, and battle lines. Aaron's eyes widened. He had seen sci-fi movies, sure. But this wasn't a movie. The light felt real, the details sharp, the sounds echoing inside his bones. He reached out with trembling fingers, and the hologram rippled like water. Suddenly, pain shot through his head. His mind filled with flashing visions. A warship cutting through, space like a blade. Thousands of armored soldiers saluting a man in a black uniform. A planet burning as fire rained from the sky, and then his own reflection. Only it wasn't him. The face was older, sterner, scarred. The soldiers called out, "Commander." "Kale!" Aaron ripped himself back to reality, falling to his knees. Sweat poured down his face. "No, no, no, no. That's not me," he whispered. "That can't be me." The helmet spoke again, calm as ever. "Identity confirmed. Genetic. Match 87%. Neural patterns incomplete. Commander Kale. Fragmented state detected. Reconstruction required." Aaron didn't understand most of it, but one thing hit him hard. Genetic match. Was it saying he was related to this commander? Or worse, was he somehow the same person? He pressed his palms to his temples, trying to think. He wanted to rip the thing off, smash it, bury it back in the junkyard, but then the helmet changed its tone. "Warning. Enemy signal detected." Aaron froze. The shed lights flickered. The hologram shifted, showing a giant shadow moving across stars. A fleet, dark and alien, with twisted shapes that looked alive. The voice continued. "They are not gone. They never left. Their scouts are near this sector. Earth is unprepared." Aaron's blood ran cold. He lived in a broken city, yes, but Earth unprepared for an alien invasion? That sounded insane. And yet, the images burned into his eyes. The alien fleet looked terrifying, monstrous, like something built to erase entire worlds. The helmet wasn't finished. "Commander KL, training protocol active." Before Aaron could protest, the shed around him vanished. Suddenly, he was standing on the deck of a starship. It was so real he could feel the metal floor under his boots, smell the sharp ozone of machines. "Wait, where am I?" he shouted, spinning around. "Simulation environment active," the voice answered. "You will relearn what you have forgotten." Panels, lit up, controls rising from the ground. His hands moved on their own as if they remembered what to do. He gripped a lever, pressed a glowing button. Instantly, the ship roared to life. Engines burned, weapons charged. Alien vessels appeared in front of him, spitting fire. Aaron panicked, ducking behind the console. I can't do this. I'm not a commander. But his hands betrayed him. They flew across controls faster than his mind could keep up. A swarm of alien ships exploded under his fire. The starship spun and dodged attacks with impossible precision. For a moment, Aaron wasn't himself. For a moment, he was Commander Kale. Then, the simulation ended. The shed reappeared. The lights were dim again, his knees shaking so hard he nearly collapsed. What just happened? He whispered. The helmet gave its chilling answer. Commander, fragments of you still remain. Time is short. The enemy approaches. Aaron sank onto the bed, head in his hands. His whole world had just cracked open. He wasn't just some poor boy digging through junk anymore. The helmet had chosen him, or maybe it had found what it was, always looking for. Outside, the night was silent. Too silent. And in that silence, Aaron couldn't shake the feeling that something out there was already watching him. This sets the stage with mystery, terror, and action. It builds Aaron's conflict. He's torn between being a normal boy and this Commander Kale. The message from the past Aaron barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, the visions returned. Explosions in space, soldiers shouting his name. Alien ships cutting across the stars like shadows with teeth. By morning, his body was exhausted, but the helmet was wide awake. Its faint blue glow filled the room, pulsing like a heartbeat. Commander, the voice said calmly, as though it had been waiting for him to wake. Incoming transmission. Aaron groaned, his voice cracking. No more of this. I don't want. The world around him twisted again. His shed dissolved into darkness. He was standing inside a circular chamber of light as though trapped, inside a giant sphere. In the center of the chamber floated a figure, not a man, not even human. It looked like smoke and metal fused together. Its face was nothing but shifting lines, like broken glass reflecting strange stars. Its voice was deep, echoing, almost vibrating through his bones. Commander Kale, it said. You have returned. At last. Aaron's mouth went dry. He stumbled back. I'm not Kale. The figure leaned closer, and the air rippled around it. Do not lie to us. We remember your war. We remember your betrayal. 4 centuries. And still, the fire burns. Aaron's pulse raced. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not him. But the creature tilted its head as if studying him. Then it whispered something that made Aaron's stomach twist. The stars still carry your scars. You failed to finish what you began. The cycle will repeat. Suddenly, the chamber shook. The figure's body split into countless fragments of light, scattering like ash in the wind. And just before it vanished, its final words echoed through. The chamber. We are coming. The chamber collapsed into nothingness. Aaron was back in his shed, falling to the floor with a thud. He gasped for air, clutching at the dirt. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. What? What was that thing? He whispered. The helmet answered coldly. Data confirmed. Enemy signal traced. Location, deep orbit. Activity, reawakening. Commander, Earth's timeline is collapsing. Protocols must be restored. Aaron shook his head violently. Stop calling me Commander. I'm not. But then his words died in his throat, because outside his shed something was humming. At first it was faint, like distant machinery, but it grew louder, a steady alien vibration that rattled his walls and made the floorboards quiver. Aaron rushed to the cracked window and looked out. The junkyard wasn't the same. Piles of scrap metal were moving, slowly, rising, as if invisible strings pulled them up. From beneath the heaps, glowing machines lifted into the air. Sleek, insect-like drones covered in dust and rust, but alive with strange energy. Aaron's breath hitched. His junkyard was waking up. The helmet's voice filled his head again. Automated defense units online. Some recognize your command, others do not. As if on cue, one of the drones turned toward his shed. Its eyes lit up red. It made a sound like grinding metal, and then fired. The window exploded. Shards of glass rained across the room as a beam of light scorched through the wall. Aaron screamed, diving for cover. Another drone appeared at the door, its legs clicking as it crawled forward. Aaron grabbed the closest thing he could find, a broken metal pipe. "Get away from me," he shouted, swinging wildly. The drone caught the pipe in its claw and tore it out of his hands like it was nothing. Its red eyes glowed brighter, charging another blast. "Commander," the helmet said, calm as ever. "Engage combat protocol." Aaron didn't know what that meant, but suddenly his body did. His hand moved on its own, reaching for a strange, glowing symbol that had appeared on his wrist. The moment he touched it, blue energy surged through him. His arm lit up, and in his palm appeared a weapon, a blade made of pure light. The drone fired. Aaron swung. The beam split in half, crashing into the dirt floor. The blade cut through the drone with a hiss, slicing it apart like paper. Sparks showered the shed as the machine collapsed into smoking pieces. Aaron staggered back, staring at his own glowing hand. What did I just do?" The helmet answered. "You remembered. This is only the beginning." Outside, dozens, more drones were rising from the junkyard. Their red eyes glared through the night, and Aaron realized something terrifying. This wasn't just about a helmet. This wasn't just about memories. The war had already come back to life. The test of the commander, the junkyard was no longer a graveyard of rust and silence. It had become a battlefield. Aaron stood at the edge of his shattered shed, the strange blade of light humming in his hand. His chest rose and fell fast, his breath hot and heavy. Before him, the junkyard swarmed with movement. Machines that had been dead for decades were crawling to life, their glowing eyes burning red or blue. Some turned toward him, bowing their heads as if waiting for orders. But others, the ones with crimson eyes, locked onto him like predators spotting prey. "Commander," the helmet whispered in his mind, calm as always, "your command must be tested. Only those who accept your authority will survive. The rest will attempt to erase you." Aaron clenched his jaw. "You mean, kill me?" The first drone leapt forward, a spider-like machine with saw-blade legs. It screeched and lunged. Instinct kicked in. Aaron's glowing blade sliced upward, cutting it in two. Sparks flew, the smell of burning metal filling the air. Before he could breathe, 3 more came at him from the side. His body moved faster than his thoughts. He ducked under a claw, spun, and drove the blade through another drone's chest. The machine collapsed in pieces, twitching like a dying insect. Aaron froze. His hands were shaking, not from fear but from recognition. His movements hadn't been his. They were too precise, too fast. He wasn't fighting like a scavenger from the city. He was fighting like a soldier. The helmet's voice confirmed the thought. "Combat protocols restored 23%, Aaron shouted, his voice cracking with anger. "Stop controlling me. Stop using me like a puppet." "No," the helmet said. "Not control, memory. You are remembering who you were." Another explosion shook the junkyard. A massive drone, twice the size of the others, rose from the rubble. It had tank-like wheels and a body covered in missile pods. Its red eyes locked onto Aaron, and a warning siren echoed through the night. Aaron's throat went dry. "Oh. Great." The tank drone fired. The missile streaked across the junkyard, flames lighting the sky. Aaron barely dove out of the way. The missile hit a pile of rusted cars, blasting them into the air like toys. Shards of metal rained down. Aaron coughed, rolling to his feet. His mind screamed at him to run, to get out. But his body, his strange new instincts, forced him to stand and face it. The helmet spoke again, louder now, almost urgent. "Commander, issue the order." "What order?" Aaron shouted. As if answering, several blue-eyed drones hovered to his side. They pointed their weapons toward the tank drone, but didn't fire. They waited. Aaron realized the truth. They were waiting for him. His voice trembled. "Attack it!" The blue drones obeyed instantly. A volley of energy beams lit up the night, hammering the massive tank drone. Its armor cracked, sparks flying. The red-eyed machine roared back, missiles flying, tearing apart two of the blue drones in an instant. Aaron winced. He wasn't ready for this. He wasn't a commander. He was just a boy who found the wrong thing at the wrong time. But as more drones closed in, he understood something terrifying. Whether he wanted it or not, this helmet wasn't giving him a choice. The battle raged across the junkyard. Machines ripped apart machines. Fire lit up the sky. Aaron moved through it like he had been born here, his blade cutting, his voice commanding. His orders came out sharp and fast. Flank left! Cover fire! Push forward! And every time he spoke, the blue drones obeyed. Every time he commanded, they fought harder, smarter, stronger. But the tank drone was relentless. Its missiles tore apart piles of metal, turning the junkyard into a storm of fire and debris. Finally, it aimed its largest cannon directly at Aaron. The barrel glowed bright white, humming with deadly power. Aaron's eyes widened. He knew he couldn't move fast enough. The blast would end him. "Commander," the helmet said, calm and steady. "Trust yourself." The cannon fired. Aaron lifted his hand, and a shield of blue energy exploded outward, wrapping around him like a dome. The blast hit, fire surging around the shield, shaking the ground. But when the light faded, Aaron stood alive, untouched, his hand still glowing. He stared at his palm in disbelief. I did that?" The helmet's voice was softer now, almost approving. "Yes, your power is returning, piece by piece." Fueled by adrenaline, Aaron roared, charging forward. His blade cut into the tank drone's armor, sparks flying. He leapt onto its back, drove the blade deep into its core and ripped it apart. The machine screamed like a dying beast before collapsing in a heap of twisted metal. Silence fell. The junkyard was littered with burning wreckage. Half the machines lay destroyed, smoke rising from their bodies. The remaining blue drones hovered silently, then bowed their heads toward Aaron. He dropped to his knees, gasping for air. His blade dissolved, leaving only his shaking hands. The helmet spoke one final time, its words sinking into him like ice. "Commander Kale has returned. The test is complete. The real war begins now." Aaron's eyes lifted to the sky. In the distance among the stars, faint shadows moved. Vast shapes, slow but unstoppable. Something was coming. And this time it wasn't just machines in a junkyard. The first contact smoke still curled above the junkyard ruins. The wreckage of drones sparked in the dirt, their glowing eyes fading to black. Aaron stood among them, chest heaving, the strange blade no longer in his hand but still burning in his memory. He wanted to believe it was over, that the nightmare had ended with the fall of the giant tank drone. But the helmet had been whispering ever since, repeating the same phrase again and again, like a prayer or a warning. "They have seen you. The signal is sent. The enemy knows you live." Aaron rubbed his face, his skin slick with sweat. He wanted to scream at the helmet to shut up, but deep down he knew it was right. Somewhere, out there in the darkness of space, something had woken up, and it was coming. Suddenly, the night sky ripped open with a sharp crack. Not thunder, not lightning. Something else. A beam of green light split through the clouds, flickering over the junkyard. Aaron stumbled back, shielding his eyes. Hovering. Above the wreckage was a ship, not like the rusty human aircraft he sometimes saw in the city sky. This one was sleek, black and silent, with wings that curved like blades. It glided without sound except for the faint hum that shook Aaron's bones. The helmet spoke again. "Enemy vessel, reconnaissance class. Objective, verification of commander, Kyle's return." Aaron's heart nearly stopped. They came here? Already? The ship's underside cracked open, and a shape dropped from its belly. It landed softly like a shadow taking form. It was tall, armored, its body covered in jagged plates of alien metal. Its head turned slowly, scanning the battlefield. And then it spoke, not with sound, but with a voice that stabbed straight into Aaron's mind. Kyle. Aaron froze. The voice was deep, venomous, filled with memory and hate. We felt your death. We marked your grave. Yet you rise. Unforgiven. Unfinished. Aaron's hands shook. He wanted to shout, "I'm not Kale." But the words stuck in his throat. The creature stepped closer, its body glowing faintly with red energy. Drones rose around it, smaller but sharper than the junkyard ones. Their eyes fixed on Aaron. The helmet whispered urgently, "Commander, they will not believe denial. You must fight or perish." Aaron's body trembled. His mind screamed to run, but the part of him that wasn't fully his, the part the helmet kept unlocking, was already shifting into combat stance. His hands burned with light. The alien tilted its head, as if curious. Then its voice echoed, again, "If you are Kale, you will bleed as Kale. If you are not, you will die as prey." Before Aaron could react, the alien lunged. The ground cracked where it landed, claws flashing. Aaron raised his arm, a shield snapping into place just in time. Sparks exploded as the claws scraped across the glowing barrier. Aaron screamed, shoving the creature back. His blade roared to life, slicing upward. The alien dodged faster than anything human. Its drones swarmed him, red beams cutting across the dirt. Aaron rolled, swung, and cut two of them down, but more replaced them instantly. The alien struck again, a blade of its own unfolding from its arm. It clashed with Aaron's light weapon, sparks flying in the night. Each blow rattled his bones. Each strike pushed him closer to the ground. Aaron's strength faltered. He wasn't a commander, he wasn't Kale. He was just a scavenger with no army, no training. Only a cursed helmet that wouldn't let go. And then, just as the alien raised its blade for the final strike, headlights, bright, blinding headlights, cut across the junkyard. A deafening shout followed. "Drop your weapons, this is the military." Dozens of armed soldiers poured into the yard, rifles aimed, floodlights tearing through the smoke. Aaron blinked, dazed. For a heartbeat, he felt relief. But then dread flooded in, because the soldiers weren't aiming only at the alien. They were aiming at him. The alien hissed, its form shimmering. With one last look, it stepped backward into a swirling portal of red light. In seconds, it was gone, along with its drones. Aaron collapsed to his knees, chest heaving. He was alive, but not safe. Boots stomped around him. Guns clicked. A soldier shouted, "Don't move!" Aaron raised his trembling hands, but the helmet's voice whispered again, colder than ever. "Commander, both enemies have arrived. Choose carefully, which one you fear more." The truth of 412 years. The junkyard was no longer silent. It was crawling with soldiers, their boots crunching over broken metal, their rifles aimed at one trembling boy. Aaron knelt in the dirt, his hands raised, his chest still heaving from the fight. The helmet's faint blue glow pulsed like a heartbeat on his head, throwing strange light over the soldiers' faces. "Don't move," one of them barked again. Aaron wanted to tell them the truth, that he didn't understand what was happening, that he wasn't their enemy, but the words stuck in his throat, because he knew what they saw, a young man standing among wreckage with alien machines bowing to him. The soldiers spread out, surrounding him. One of them, a tall officer with silver in his beard, stepped forward. His voice was calm but sharp. "Identify yourself." Aaron swallowed hard. My name's Aaron. I just..." The officer's eyes narrowed. "Not your name. Your designation." Aaron blinked. "What?" The officer pointed at the helmet. "That device hasn't been seen in centuries, and it only ever belonged to one man." Aaron's stomach turned. "You mean Kyle?" The officer didn't answer, but the silence told him enough. The helmet broke the tension with its cold, steady voice. "Genetic recognition complete. Commander Kale. Fragmented reincarnation detected. Mission continuity required." The soldiers stiffened. Some whispered among themselves, A few even stepped back as though the name itself carried weight like a curse. Aaron's heart pounded. "No, I'm not him. I'm not your commander." He looked at the officer, desperate. "Please, you have to believe me." But the officer's eyes held no sympathy, only calculation. "If what that helmet says is true, then you're the most dangerous man on this planet." Two soldiers grabbed Aaron by the arms, pulling him up. He struggled, but their grip was iron. The officer motioned toward a waiting truck. "Bring him in. Command will want answers." Hours later, Aaron found himself deep underground. They had blindfolded him, driven for what felt like forever, then shoved him into a concrete facility that smelled of steel and secrets. When the blindfold came off, he was in a dark chamber. Screens lined the walls, flickering with old star maps and ancient footage. Soldiers stood along the walls, but only one man sat at the table in front of him, a figure in a black uniform, his face pale under the harsh light. "I am Director Hale," the man said smoothly. "You've caused quite the disturbance." Aaron clenched his fists. "I didn't cause anything. That thing, this helmet, it forced itself on me." Hale leaned forward, steepling his fingers. "Do you even know who Cale was?" Aaron shook his head, his voice bitter. "Everyone keeps saying his name like I should, but I don't know him." Hale smirked faintly. "Then let me educate you." He tapped the table. A hologram flickered above it, an image of a man in a dark commander's coat, his face stern, scarred, eyes cold with authority. Aaron's chest tightened. The resemblance was undeniable. "This was Commander Cale," Hale said. 412 years ago, he was Earth's greatest weapon. Brilliant, ruthless. A leader who held back an alien invasion that should have wiped us all out." Aaron swallowed, staring at the man's face. The same sharp jawline, the same eyes. "But victory came at a cost," Hale continued. "Cale's methods, they were not merciful. He made enemies, not just among the aliens, but among his own people. When the final battle ended, Cale disappeared. Some say he died. Others believed he planned something bigger, something darker." Aaron shook his head violently. "That's not me. I'm not him." Hale's smile widened, thin and dangerous. "And yet the helmet found you, and it only responds to Cale's bloodline. You may not want to be him, boy, but you are him." Aaron's voice cracked. "I don't want this. I never asked for this." The helmet interrupted with its cold truth. Commander Cale's death was incomplete. His DNA was preserved. His essence was reborn. You are not separate. You are the continuation. Aaron slammed his fists on the table. "Shut up. I'm not a monster. I didn't start a war." Director Hale's eyes glinted. "Monster? No. Weapon? Yes. And weapons are useful." Aaron froze. A chill spread through his chest. Hale wasn't afraid of him. Hale wanted to use him. "You've already seen them, haven't you?" Hale asked, softly. "The enemy, waiting in the dark. They're returning. And when they arrive, Earth will need a commander again." Aaron whispered, "You mean me?" Hale leaned closer, his smile sharp. "Exactly. With your mind, your power, your army. Earth will have a chance, under my command, of course." Aaron's stomach twisted. He saw the trap. If he agreed, he'd be a tool. If he refused, he'd be a prisoner. And before he could answer, the helmet spoke one more time, its voice echoing louder than ever inside his skull. "Commander, choose your path. Serve the humans who once betrayed you, or prepare for the enemy who never forgave you." The room fell silent. Soldiers waited with guns ready. Hale's eyes burned into him. And deep inside, Aaron felt Cale's shadow rise again, whispering, from the fragments of memory that weren't his own. The truth was clear now. He wasn't just Aaron. He wasn't just Cale. He was both. And the war wasn't coming. It had already begun. The return of the commander. The underground chamber felt smaller than ever. Aaron sat at the steel table, Director Hale's cold eyes locked on him. Soldiers stood ready, fingers on triggers. The air was heavy with silence, But inside Aaron's mind, the helmet's voice thundered like a storm. "Commander, the enemy is moving, the fleet stirs, this planet will fall if you do not act." Aaron clenched his fists. He was done being pushed around by voices, human or machine. But then the ground trembled, faint at first, then stronger. The lights overhead flickered. Dust rained from the ceiling. "What now?" one of the soldiers shouted. Hale rose, his face pale but his voice steady. "They've come sooner than expected." Another tremor shook the chamber, followed by a low, distant roar. It wasn't thunder, it was something far worse. The helmet whispered in Aaron's ear, urgent. "They have locked onto the signal. The war has reached Earth." Above ground, the night sky tore open. Fire streaked down from orbit, alien ships descending like shadows with burning wings. Cities far away lit up in explosions. The invasion had begun. Inside the base, alarms wailed. Soldiers scrambled, shouting orders, grabbing weapons. Hale turned to Aaron, his voice sharp. "This is your chance. Prove you are not our enemy. Fight for Earth." Aaron looked at him, then at the terrified soldiers. He saw the fear in their eyes. Not just fear of aliens, but fear of him. He could fight for them, yes, but could he trust them? The helmet interrupted, his thoughts showing a new vision. Deep beneath the city, buried under layers of rock and steel, a colossal structure stirred. A warship. His warship. "Commander Kale's flagship," the helmet said. "Hidden for centuries, waiting for you." Aaron's breath caught. He didn't want to believe it, but his gut told him it was true. He saw flashes of memory again. Standing on its bridge, soldiers saluting, stars stretched out before him. This was the weapon Earth needed. But once he took it, there would be no going back. The base shook violently as an alien strike slammed into the surface above. The ceiling cracked, sprinkling concrete dust. Soldiers shouted, panicked. Hale turned back to Aaron. "Where is it?" Hale demanded. "Where's the ship?" Aaron hesitated. If he told them, the military would try to seize it. They'd chain him to it, make him their weapon. But if he stayed silent, Earth might fall before he could act. The helmet whispered again. "Commander, delay is death. Your choice is now." Aaron stood slowly, his voice shaking but firm. "I know where it is." Hale's eyes gleamed with triumph. "Then take us to it." Aaron looked at him coldly. "No, I'll take me to it." Before Hale could respond, Aaron's palm lit up. A blast of blue energy surged, throwing soldiers back without killing them, just enough to clear his path. The helmet guided his steps, showing him tunnels only Kale could have known. He ran, heart pounding as the base shook from alien bombardments above. He emerged into the night to find the city burning. Alien ships hovered above skyscrapers, raining fire. Human fighter jets tore through the sky, outmatched but refusing to fall. Sirens wailed, people screamed, the world itself was breaking. And then the ground beneath his feet rumbled. A massive slab of earth split open. Metal groaned. Stone shattered. And from beneath the city, like a titan waking from its grave, the ship rose. It was enormous, dwarfing every human aircraft. Its hull was black and silver, etched with glowing lines of alien-human hybrid technology. Energy rippled across its surface as systems reactivated after centuries of sleep. Aaron stared, breathless. It was beautiful, terrifying, alive. The helmet's voice was steady now, almost reverent. "Your flagship, the Erebos. Born from Earth, forged for war. It has waited 412 years for you, Commander." The ship's ramp lowered with a hiss. Aaron's legs moved before his mind caught up. He stepped inside. The interior was vast, filled with glowing consoles and humming engines. As he entered the command bridge, lights flared on. Holograms flickered to life. And for the first time he felt it. Not fear, not doubt, but belonging. The consoles recognized him instantly. "Commander Kyle." "Reinstated," Aaron whispered. "I'm not Kyle." The helmet corrected him gently. "You are Aaron. You are Kyle. You are both. You are the continuation. The alien fleet appeared on the screens, massive, endless, blotting out the stars. They were coming for Earth. Aaron's jaw tightened. For the first time, he didn't feel like running. "Erebos," he said firmly. "Arm weapons." The ship responded with a deep, thunderous hum. Cannons unfolded from its sides, energy charged in its core. The whole vessel shook with power. The alien fleet shifted, breaking formation. They had seen him. They remembered him, and they were afraid. The first barrage of alien fire rained down. Aaron gripped the controls, instincts rising like a storm inside him. His hands moved fast, too fast for a boy who had never flown a ship. He wasn't just Aaron anymore. He was Kale reborn. The Erebos roared into the sky, its cannons blazing. Alien ships shattered under its fire. Explosions lit the heavens, turning night into burning day. But Aaron wasn't just destroying. He was leading. Human pilots below saw the flagship rise, saw it strike back, and they rallied. Jets swarmed alongside him, soldiers cheered on the ground. For the first time in centuries, Earth had its commander again. The battle raged on. The alien fleet was vast, but the Erebos cut through them like a blade. Aaron fought with everything he had. Every instinct, every fragment of Kale's memory, every ounce of his own will. Finally, the alien mothership appeared. A monstrous fortress, larger than a city. It opened its maw, preparing a weapon that could wipe out Earth in one blast. The helmet's voice was calm but heavy. "Commander, if you strike, you may not return, but if you do not, Earth will burn." Aaron's hands trembled. He thought of the people screaming in the streets, of the soldiers who had feared him, of Hale waiting in the shadows to use him. He thought of Kale, the man who fought before him, who died with unfinished business, and then his fear melted. He wasn't just Aaron. He wasn't just Kale. He was both, and he was more. He was the commander. "Target the mothership," he ordered. "All power to the main cannon." The Erebos charged, its core glowing brighter than a sun. The alien mothership fired its weapon at the same time. For one blinding instant, the sky exploded with light. And then, silence. When the smoke cleared, the alien mothership was gone, obliterated in a storm of fire. The fleet scattered, leaderless, retreating into the void. Earth was safe. For now. On the bridge, Aaron collapsed into the commander's chair, exhausted. The helmet pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. "Mission complete," it said quietly. Aaron closed his eyes, whispering to himself. No, the mission just began. Because deep down he knew the truth. The aliens would return. The humans would never fully trust him. And the shadow of Kyle would always live inside him. But for the first time, he wasn't afraid of that truth. He would not be their weapon. He would not be their prisoner. He would be their commander, and the stars would never forget his name again.